Hello, and welcome to Andy Reacts to a trailer that everybody is telling me I have to watch for Immortal Empires, Total War Warhammer 3, and apparently that's so good that it brought the Loremaster of Sotek to tears. Wow. I'm not entirely sure what I'm supposed to say to that. I'm kind of excited just to see what it's going to be. All I've done is brought it up, and it's only 3 minutes long, so it's not exactly the longest trailer in the world. So, given that it's probably got a little bit of a preamble video coming in with logos and a little bit at the end that says "Go buy it here," it's probably about 2 minutes and a bit. So, there's not going to be an awful lot of it here. Anyway, I'm quite excited to see what all the excitement's about. So let's go have a quick check, eh? Let's first bring it up. Now, oh shit, no, add it to the stream. There we go. And it'll take a wee second because I've added it to the stream late. Right, so before I go, I have a couple of things to say. Number one, my computer has been notoriously dodgy with sound for the last wee while. So I'm going to play it. I'm going to watch it. And then if I feel anything needs to be said, I'll pause it rather than speak out, just so that I can say a thing. It may be worth watching twice, maybe. I don't know. Is it worth watching once? Just watch it through, see what happens, and then watch it again and break down anything I like? I have no idea. Let's give it a go and find out. Anyway, let's bring it up. Oh, it hasn't arrived yet. Have you arrived yet? Hello, trailer. Where are you? See that big space where it says Lawhammer? That's where the trailer should be. Let's just give it a couple of seconds for it to do whatever it needs to do to catch up. Have I removed it by mistake? No, it should be there. Put it away. Bring it back. Who knows? Anyway, so there's been an awful lot of comments coming up. I'm going to quickly bring up a couple of the main ones, like, for example, this, which I actually can't even believe. Luring Lion, who, of course, did throw... sorry for nagging you. Nothing to be sorry about at all, Luring Lion. You are the best. And a whole bunch of other comments about how it's really good. And it's just leaving me feeling a little bit, really? Is it that good? I'm going to remove this and bring it back in again because it's apparently not coming in. Oh, there it is. There we go. We all ready? Let's move that off to the side and let's get rid of that comment. Oh, I'm actually slightly nervous. Everybody's going, yeah, it's like a really good trailer. Should I really be that nervous? Let's find out. Okay, I'm now sitting comfortably. Holy shit, it's only a trailer. Right, okay, so here we go. The trailer for Immortal Empires, which as far as I can tell, is going to be the trailer for how it all fucking ends. Let's see if I'm right.
Storm clouds gather. Our borders are beset by evil, both mundane and immortal. How long can we withstand this onslaught?
Are we lagging at your end? Is it lagging hard? Because I've got it nice and clear at my end, but if it's not clear at your end, what I'll do is I'll reduce it down. I'll pull it back a little bit. You'll get to see on my window instead, and we'll do it that way because that'll almost certainly.
Both mundane and immortal.
Yeah, there we go. It seems it's super smooth at my side. How is it at yours?
Withstand this onslaught. We must form an alliance. We either die alone or survive together.
I concur. This threat is beyond any of us. With the Azur's guidance...
This is just another Algates game. I see many leaders here, but you even speak for your people.
High King, this is not the time for short-sightedness.
Short? There'll be no alliance with elves while I'm High King. Only a reckoning.
We must not be blinded by our own need for power. This is the moment. Your choices will decide the fate of this world. And all that inhabit it. Make the right one.
No, don't be over. Fuck that. Okay, yeah, that was pretty fucking awesome. Oh, post-credit scene. Dowies are. Alrighty, so apologies for it being a little bit stuttery here at the beginning.
Loremaster of Sotek here,
Musically
and
immediately moved over to a video from Loremaster of Sotek going, I cried when I watched that. Right, so I didn't get to see that as well as I'd have liked. Because we were going. So I'm going to quickly rewind that and pop that straight back on again. Because holy shit, that was actually pretty awesome. So let me see if we can actually make that run at a decent pace. It doesn't actually matter if it's laggy if
Storm clouds gather.
Bring that up because
Our
I can just pop.
borders are beset by evil.
So storm clouds gather. Borders beset by evil, and we've got ourselves all manner of very poorly rendered because I'm laggy as hell apparently in my video.
Both mundane and immortal.
Immortal, interesting. Who's there? I can't actually see who that. Obviously the demons, but who's that? Who's that one in the middle? Can't quite see. Can someone tell me who's in the middle, please? That'd be really good. Ah, Sigvald, of course it is. Sigvald. Thanks.
How long can
Oh, it's all burning.
we withstand this onslaught?
Oh, look at there.
We must form an alliance. We either die alone or survive together.
I concur.
It's rather funny hearing his voice right beside him. We must forge an alliance or stand alone. And then he's like, I concur. I concur. It's really funny because obviously we've all got our own versions of what various characters sound like or act like in our heads for those of us who've been playing the games for a very long time. But in my case, I've not just been playing the games for a really long time. I've often been playing the characters as well because I've been role-playing with so many of them for such a long time. My Karl Franz has a different voice to this, obviously, because I made a voice for him long before this one came about. But my elves, they sound very different, and they don't sound like this. I concur. I am Teclis. Oh, but still, nevertheless, awesome. Of course, Teclis ruining it all by daring to open his mouth. Hey! There he is. There he is. Look at that. Do love our good old Witch King.
With the Azur's guidance,
This is just another Algate scheme.
This is just another algae scheme.
I see many leaders here.
Yeah.
Speak for your people.
High King, this is not the time for short-sightedness.
No! You know, Teclis, if we're going to base him down to his stats, he's got stats that are quite frankly stupid. He's the High Lore Master of Hoeth, one who is almost certainly on the intelligence side all the way up there. Do you think he didn't do that on purpose?
Short!
Short!
There'll be no alliance with elves while I'm High King. Only a reckoning.
Yeah! Oh, the Eye King. Fuck me. Go Trek. Feel it. I missed him first time round. Just bringing up that comment because it actually makes me smile. Could be a charisma thing. Charisma is more about how you put it, you know, your general tone, all the rest. And he was being somewhat conciliatory in the way he was presenting it, at least, where, you know, his choice of words, that would be where the intelligence comes in. So I'd say a little charisma would not necessarily screw that one up. Yeah, that one, that's a good one, isn't it? Go Trekman versus Felix Scarbrand. Take your bets. I'm almost tempted to go back to that bad boy. Where are you? Oh, there they are. It's really funny, isn't it, that the artwork for Gotrek and Felix hasn't changed pretty much since it was originally done by Mark Gibbons, all the way back for the Dwarf Army list for 4th edition. And I'm always going to call out Mark any opportunity that I can because he's absolutely freaking amazing. And it shows just how much influence Mark has had, not just in the Warhammer world, but 40k as well, pretty much across the board. I was just looking at the new toy for Mephiston for the Blood Angels, and it's basically Mark's original art. It's amazing. Anyway, let's move on from here because we can't just sit and laugh at the pair of those looking identical. Do you think he's actually got like 40 pairs of those stripy tights? Because I reckon he probably almost certainly must do. I'm going to bring up that comic because I think that's a good one. I do love that Karl Franz looks older with this model. Yeah, he does. Let's pull him back. He's about there. Yeah, there you go. So at this point, he must be around about what, almost coming up to his 50s. So yeah, much younger looking. He's got wrinkles and tiredness, and come on, it's the end of the world, man. My Karl Franz often grew a beard, largely because he was attempting to come across really well with the dwarves, and it's all those small diplomatic differences that make a difference. I did a conversion for Karl Franz with a beard on foot with Gal Maraz. It was pretty awesome. Yeah, anyway, let's get on with where we were. I believe we were about here. Holy shit.
Enough!
There's a good old Warhammer. Look at that. And again, the thing that I brought up in my Lorehammer streams, where we were playing our game and they were discussing this is in our Lorehammer fantasy roleplay streams, and they were discussing Gal Maraz and the fact that Gal Maraz was a weapon that was gifted by High King Kurgan to Sigmar like 2,500 years ago, yet somehow still has, sitting there on it, an Imperial Cross. Let's just mark that there. An Imperial Cross, which became a symbol of the joining of the Empire with the Dwarves afterwards, and it was not reforged. So there's an interesting little poser for you. Exactly where does that come from? If you want to know what the Imperial Cross is, I do believe almost word for word its description that the studio was provided to the role-playing team was put into the Old World Armory of all books for Fantasy Roleplay 2nd edition, where it discusses the Imperial Cross and discusses the North, the South, the North, the East, the West, and the Dwarves, and exactly how they all work together. So pretty freaking awesome. And might I also bring up this one because it is the comment of all comments. Karl Franz, the best changelet, I mean statesman in the old world. Definitely not a demon. Bring up that one from Hawk as well. I mean, presidential aging is real. Absolutely is. If you take a look at almost any of the presidents, when they start 4 years later at the end of the term, they're like all old and grey going, why? Why did I take on this job? Except for Trump, who is universally orange. So, yeah, that's a good one. It's Be'lakor. Gal Maraz has an Imperial Cross in it, and it's clearly more Imperial in general appearance than any Dwarven weapon we've seen. Must be where they got that style from. You could say that, but I'm going to drop in one other interesting little point for you, which also came up in our Lawhammer game stream. And if you don't watch our streams, you should. Take a look at that haft. It's the same haft it's always had. It's pretty much solidly crafted there. That's a haft for human hands. Dwarven weapons have bigger hafts because dwarven hands are freaking huge. But let's just not think about that because it brings up some perhaps unworthy considerations as to the provenance of Maraz. That's all. I've already done that one. Let's bring back up again.
We must not be blinded by our own need.
You can see the Imperial Cross sitting there on his chest, exactly the same symbol. That is, well, a representation of the alliance of Sigmar and the Dwarves, which is nice.
A power?
Yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There's the real question. What's the toughness value of that table that Maraz didn't shatter it? Now, I have an answer to this if you want one. So, Maraz as a weapon, you receive no armor saves for it. Effectively, it has the Master Rune of Alaric the Mad in it. And if it has the Master Rune of Alaric the Mad, that must mean that it can pass through pretty much any metals, because that's what it does. But it doesn't pass through flesh. We know this because when Runefangs hit flesh, they start cutting. They don't just pass through it like it was nothing. If they could, it wouldn't just be no armor saves. There'd be no roll to wound. There'd be no nothing. All it does is it passes through the metal of the armor, but it doesn't pass through flesh. Perhaps then we can then surmise what it doesn't do is pass through living material or once living material. And what does he hit? Wood, not metal. So the answer could be the hammer doesn't actually break through wood. The hammer only really breaks through metal and treats that as almost nothing. There's a potential answer for you. If you really want to drill in further, you could argue that the original Master Rune of Alaric the Mad was created for perhaps mining. In that it was designed to pass through stone and metal with ease, not to pass through flesh, because that would obviously harm the dwarves who were mining, or alternatively, any other living material. So there's a potential answer for how that could be the case. Can't believe I went into that much detail about why a hammer didn't bash up a table. But, you know, it's worth giving it a go, innit? Right, let's drop back down to making this...
We must not be blinded by our own need for power.
Wow, Braconian!
This is the...
Is that Finubar? No, it's not. It's Tyrion. Tyrion the White... And Teclis, is that? See, that couldn't quite see because my video quality was low. Would I be correct in saying that was Tyrion and the White Dwarf? At least that's what it looked like to me. Ooh, exciting. Get rid of that comment there. Pop back down again. Splash.
Your choices will decide the fate of this world.
Right. Oh, let me just pull back there because Balthazar Gelt, he can go fuck himself. see, that's something, you know, killing Dark Elves together, Tyrion and Grombrindle. Yeah. There's a part of me that feels that killing Dark Elves is completely not the point. If it's the end of the world, the Dark Elves aren't the enemy. Chaos is. And if they're killing Dark Elves, then they are making as much of an error as the High King was making at the table with Teclis making his somewhat ill-chosen short statement. The Dark Elves are not the bad guys. And I will die on that hill. And there, if it's dwarves, no dwarves, elves, because let's just not even go on that particular argument there. Right, so here we go. Oh, also, Balthazar. Oh, well, we've gone right past Balthazar Gelt. Let's bring him back again. Balthazar Gelt. Oh, I was trying to bring it back on the screen rather than down here. That guy. Yeah, that guy, he can go fuck himself. What's he doing all the way over there with them? There must be a story there that I'm not aware of. Carrying on anyway.
And all that inhabit it. Make
there he is.
The right one.
Did they actually use that as a model in the game later? Did they put the Ice Queen up on a bear? Because if so, that's fucking awesome. Ice Queen on a giant fucking white bear. Oh, I love that so much. I'm not so keen on the Ice Queen model. We all have our own preferences as to how things look. My Ice Queen is she's not so strong. Oh, look at him there. Good old Deathclaw. Looking awesome. Look at that. Oh, yeah. See, that's awesome, while simultaneously being one of the most unrealistic depictions of war I've ever seen. Nobody would fight like that, but you know, it's awesome. So who fucking cares? Oh, the common key goes 1 frame backward, and the period key goes 1 frame forward. Let me try that because I've never done that. So, oh, you look at that. Thank you very much. I didn't know that. Learn something new every day. So Luring Line then asks, she looked amazing, the Warhammer 3 announcement trailer. Have you seen that yet? No, I've not seen that yet. We know I've come very, very late to the Warhammer Total War 3 trailers. And here's a small admittance to make. We had Andy Hall on Inside the Rookery. 3 days before Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, Warhammer Total War Warhammer 3 released, discussing everything about the game that was about to come. And did I watch the trailer? Apparently I didn't. It's really just kind of, you know, embarrassing. Oh, man. Warren, please name her bear and make it canon. I can't make it canon. I don't work for the company anymore. I won't spam this question. I'll happily name it for my own games. I'll happily maybe even draw it because that'd be pretty fucking cool. But no, I don't think I'm going to be naming it officially. But thanks for the kind words. Anyway, let's see where we're going next. I think it's about to come to an end because we're on. Right. It is coming to an end, but we have our little Chaos Dwarfs thing at the very end, which is dang cool. Right, so for those of you who watched this before, which bits have I missed? Because the first playing of this was pretty dang shonky. Now, however, it looks like it's playing nice and cleanly. So we had Teclis, we had the bit. There was quite a few scenes where they're running together. There we go. So that's Nurgle and Lizardman doing their thing. Wow. So I remember when I wrote the Realm of the Ice Queen whole book, the Kislev Ice Witch was specifically written in a particular way. This both contradicts it and adds to it in so many interesting ways. And I actually love this, while simultaneously parts of me go, oh, I wish they'd done this and I wish they'd done that. Is that meant to be the Ice Queen herself? I hope not. No, she's not wearing a crown, so it can't be. It must just be a witch. Still love that one. Really love that one. There's Fate Weaver doing the thing. So one presumes this is up by the Realms of Chaos. That's what, the Forbidden City, perhaps? All the demons. Daemonettes doing their Daemonette thing. So just a generic one. Thanks very much. I wasn't so sure about that. Just bring that one up. Generic Ice Witch Lord. Yeah, that's what I thought, because it didn't look like it could be her. I do love Nkari. Nkari's one of my favorite characters. I have opinions on Nkari. We probably don't want to share those just now because they are very direct. You know what? You were right. That's one hell of a table, Sotek. That is one hell of a table to survive that.
We must not be blinded by our own need for power.
Do we have any of the Bretonian characters in the front line? Because mine's a bit blurry at this side. Is that Luon?
Is the moment.
Go on, squash that dark. I'm just going to say it again. It's not that I don't like it. That would be too strong. I find it deeply unfortunate that the best representation of an elf coming to terms with what happens at the end of the world is killing more elves, because the elves ultimately, in many respects, are one of the species that hold the fate of the world in their hand. And what are they doing? They're killing each other instead of killing the true bad guys. And that is an absolute shame. It makes me cry. Repant. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Well, let's just bring up that little one because you mentioned it before and I didn't bring it up. The Dark Elves attack, though. And I think that's also a bit of a shame. The fact that the Dark Elves are attacking at the end of the world. Malekith's not an idiot. If it's the actual end of the world and all the signs are pointing towards that, Morathi's not an idiot either. And the fact that they are choosing that as the correct route rather than using chaos towards their own ends, in many respects, diminishes the entire story of the Dark Elves for me. The Dark Elves who are above this bullshit and use this bullshit to get their own ends, and to have them effectively just be demoted to sub-chaos, chaos ending the world, Dark Elves. Nah, it's a bit of a shame. It just almost undermines everything that the Dark Elves could be, and in many respects undermines what Malekith becomes in terms of who he should have been and perhaps isn't. But again, we all have our own foibles about little bits of the story that everybody likes. I would like to say that they are paying me a significant amount, Sotek. I get quite a lot. They keep on coming into my streams and offering me cash to make sure that Dark Elves are spun in the best possible light. And why shouldn't they? Because Dark Elves quite clearly are superior. Yeah, and I think that that's a fair point. She uses chaos. Yes, that's the big one. She uses it. To think that she doesn't is to diminish her character. She has always been that individual. Anyway, let's check that next little bit. Oh, Alexa, stop. Alexa tried to interrupt. Dark Elves doing the thing.
Your choices.
This is harking right back to a conversation that I was having with Sotek earlier about how the Total War game takes characters from effectively across the history of Warhammer and throws them all in at the end of the world. And here's a fine example of that. A character that is officially dead. No, he's not. Look at him. He's looking goddamn fine. Yeah, that is worth popping back to, actually. Orion and Oxyotl. There we go. Except my video quality is really poor on that. There it is. Oh, no. Okay, there we go. There's a good shot of it. Look at them doing their thing, standing together side by side. The chances of that would be a fine thing, wouldn't it? I wouldn't actually mind trying to figure out how that could come about. I'd also like to say that Orion looks a bit small there. Don't eat troll meat. That's good old Grom for you. Got so many you can. I love Niblet, so that's a good thing. I'm really delighted to hear that. I'm not complaining that Grom's in the game, just to make sure we're clear. I love that Grom, and indeed everyone else, is in the game. However, I think that it's a good way of making sure that whenever you're looking at Total War for the lore questions, it's always going to be using the lore for whatever makes best sense for their game. And often that means just simply breaking the existing Warhammer lore. And that's cool because it works for the game. But if you're trying to then try and apply the Total War game back into the war game, you're almost certainly going to find yourself getting tripped up, because lots of the decisions that were made to make Total War work don't necessarily stand for the actual existing stories that are being presented by the war game. Anyway, let's carry on there.
Your choices will decide the fate of this world.
Take that, you fucker. Oh, I hate elves so much.
All that inhabit it. Make the right one.
You know, every time I see this, I think about that's what Shoiker predicted, that the Empire and the Kislev would stand side by side at the end. Love it. Yeah, that's another one to point back. Repant's the Lioness being alive in the game too makes no sense at all. But who cares? That's not what it's about. It's much more about, you know, game, playing with all the cool characters. Let it run through the trophy here towards the well. I'm bringing up this comment to say, and why do you not? Right. I freaking love Chaos Wars. Okay, so you were all right. Absolutely every single last one of you said this was an awesome trailer. We're spot on. It's just full of character, and it's almost a love letter, really, isn't it? It's taking each one of the factions that everybody's probably worked up with through the course of the games, giving them a moment to shine with their key characters, throwing them against each other on screen, and giving us a stirring speech at the same time. Not too much of it, in that it's enough to get you super excited, and just when you're at the point of going, yes, it stops. So I'd say in terms of an advert, 100% wholly successful. It gets me wanting to play the game. In fact, it almost makes me want to start playing it this evening rather than jumping into Baldur's Gate, which is what I was considering doing. Now, I imagine, in fact, I was about to say, the others are bringing it up. There's a couple of bits and pieces over there. Vampire count's not mentioned. Ogre's missing. Yep, good point. Well made. There wasn't a huge amount of Skaven that I saw either. Actually, no Skaven or Ogre characters. Yeah, there was like some Skaven running about, but I think that was about it. By the way, Andy, you're still under the category of Baldur's Gate on Twitch. Am I? I'll get rid of that. If you want to increase the quality of the trailer, you should use the cog wheel to the left of the full screen button. You bloody not telling me it's running low. Oh, naughty! Why wasn't that running at full res? Oh, that is so disappointing. Why wasn't it doing that automatically? Thanks very much for pointing it out. That is just,
How long can we
just
withstand
awful.
this?
I'm going to watch it one more time for that horror, that travesty. Oh, I'm gutted. Thanks for pointing that out, by the way. There we go. Fuck me.
Storm clouds.
I can see them.
Our borders are beset by evil, both mundane
Oh,
and immortal.
that's so much clearer. Clearly Sigvald now.
How long can we withstand this onslaught? We must form an alliance. We either die alone or survive together.
I concur. This threat is beyond any of us.
I concur. This threat is beyond any of us. I really can't get over that. I mean, look at this and compare that to Teclis. Bloody hell. Actually hilarious. My Teclis is, in terms of how I use my Teclis in my games, really quite different. My Teclis is sickly, actually ill, quite worn out most of the time, tired, quite caustic and bitter, because his brother is this shining example of all that is beautiful and perfect, while internally he's broken. While on the other side, you've got Teclis, who externally is broken, but on the inside is almost a shining pinnacle of everything that an elf potentially could be. Yet he's got a broken, ruined body. And yeah, my Teclis is thus quite different. Not a gentle person who comes forward and says, hello, we've got to organize. Oh, by the way, you're a short dwarf. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, no, that's not my Teclis, but that's okay, because each game and each version presents different facets of each of the characters. But yeah, my Teclis is quite different. My Teclis, if he ever does pop up in my Lawhammer games, may surprise a few people, because he's a little bit different.
With the Azuz.
Well, I'm actually going to bring up this comment because it's a good one and it is worth saying. A Teclis is what elves call ugly. That's true, but as far as most humans are concerned, they may not necessarily see that. But yeah, Teclis is a broken elf. I wouldn't necessarily say basically an old man, because I think that gives the wrong impression of what Teclis is. Teclis is, as far as elves are concerned, quite young, and all elves are eternally young. What he is broken. His skin, unlike normal elves, doesn't have that iridescent sheen, that perfection. His eyes are kind of weary and broken. Everything about him's hard work. He has to maintain himself with a variety of spells and potions just to keep himself going. Life is tough for poor old Teclis. I love him. He's a great character. That's one. You know how it is when you've got a favorite character, ones that really stick, and you've got an image in your mind, and when you see it on screen, you're like, yeah, that's not my version. Sotek has his own versions. We were discussing those about many of the lizard men. He was like, yeah, fuck no, I do not like those models. We've all got our own versions, and mine is Teclis. In fact, most of the elves. Like Karl Franz, like Thorgrim.
It's just another Algates game.
It's just another Elgace game. He's such an idiot.
I see many leaders here.
Many
but you even
leaders
speak
here.
for your people.
In fact, I wouldn't mind taking a quick check. Who are these many leaders here that he sees? Okay, some Cathayans, whatever. Oh, there's the whatever.
But you even speak.
They could have brought a better council there, I
High
think.
King, this is not the time for short-sightedness.
I'm not going to get over that.
Short. There'll be no alliance.
Yeah, there's Lewin and Albrecht. Fair enough. Yep, good point.
While I'm High King.
Warhammer World is far bigger than a couple of small places. Oh, man. Go Mark Gibbons. I'm going to stop at that one every time because it's just awful. Just look at that fucker coming at them. I'm betting on Gotrek, and not only because we all know Gotrek survives, but regardless, I'm betting on Gotrek. Oh man. See, it's ones like this that really ding me because there is an enormous quantity of imagery available for the old world in general, but there is a certain lack of imagery for anything that lies outside of the old world, except for maybe the occasional Ulthuan Nagarothi bit, or maybe Cathay. But when you're moving up to, say, the realms of chaos and similar, no, not at all. So really quite liking that. So where are we here? Because obviously we've got our giant statue of what presumes is meant to be Sigmar. Is this meant to be Altdorf, perhaps? We've got ourselves some old world buildings in the background. We've got ourselves a variety of daemonettes kicking around, with although we have a big chaosy style portal sort of sitting in the middle about there. So somewhere in the Empire, do you think it's anywhere? Random generated statue, yeah, pretty much. So yeah, okay, you're hard, whatever.
Enough! We must not be blinded by our own need for power.
Want to have a good look at the Bretonnians charging in. So what? The king, there's our Rapants. Who are the other models? Because I don't know them all because I've yet to play the game. I do love to see a nice lance formation charging up the center of the battlefield. We're clearly in Bretonia, given the style of the towers that are kicking around in the background. I still have Teclis as basically an old man sitting in the middle. So Albrecht as well. Cool. Yeah, that's did you say there's Reichsguard at the back? Did you say there's Reichsguard at the back? Oh, that I did not catch. Let me just... where do we see those little... I didn't see the Reichsguard. God damn it. I'm going to have to go back a little bit. Let me just... The Reichsguard? I've seen a lot of Bretonnians. Where are the Reichsguard? I'm not seeing Reichsguard there. I'm seeing lots of Bretonnian models. Ah, back with Franz, you meant. Ah, gotcha. Okay, I was thinking you were saying that the Bretonnians had mixed up with the Empire. And that would have been kind of cool if they had, actually. You know, showing how the alliances can form out the most unlikely places.
This is the moment.
Whereas...
Your choices will
just
decide
there.
the fate of this
Okay,
world. And all that not inhabit it.
It's an odd one.
Make the right one.
Oops, accidentally made the window small there. Literally loving those two being pals together. It does seem a little bit odd where the Druki are sitting. I would argue that I can see the Skaven bringing dissolution to all things and then squirreling their way out at the very end, because that's very Ratman. It's very Skaven. It's very the Horned Rat, helping bring everything down while simultaneously sneaking off and managing to sneak between the invisible cracks that no one expects. But I'm still pretty goddamn upset about the poor old Druki. You just get a feeling that basically all the high elf propaganda is turned into reality by that sort of outcome. And that's something that makes me feel a little bit sad. The dark elves aren't the bad guys in this particular scheme. They're not good guys, but they're not bad guys in that they don't want to see the end of the world. They're bad guys in many other situations. Say, for example, if they happen to be doing a piratical raid upon your coastline, they're the bad guys. But when it comes to the end of the world, that's the exact opposite of what Malekith is looking for. And yeah, that makes me just a little bit sad. Just a wee bit. Did someone say Slambo was there? Where? So do you think we can bully the Chaos Dwarf trailer in a sec? If somebody gives me a link and passes it over to me, I might consider watching one more, just because, you know, I'm here and I'm quite enjoying myself. At the end of this one, I can happily say this has actually made me want to play the game. And I was already going to be playing the game anyway, just because I want to catch up on all the lore bits that it adds and all the goodness that it brings to the setting in general. But yeah, this has actually put a big smile on my face. Yeah, so yeah, Marathi spreading chaos corruption. Again, I mean, I understand that why you choose that as a mechanic, but nevertheless, she is not a champion of chaos, nor will she become so when you take a look at what happens when we move into the next age of Sigmar. We're really not in that sort of place. I'll link over in the Lawhammer Discord. Will probably do. If you at me, I'll find it. Let me just see if there's already an at me over there. Chaos Dwarf Trailer. I've got it. I'm going to go tap it in. Control C. Pop that down. And let's pop that in up here. Control V. Let's just make sure it is actually going at the right bloody...
Forsaken.
I've not watched it. I'm actually quite excited about this.
What choice but to follow the flame? Fire to tear down the old ways, burning away all fear, doubt, and weakness. Nothing remains but power and ambition. This roaring fire will always demand more.
Fuck me.
More fuel. More sacrifice. The fiercest heat to forge the hardest steel. Destiny. Rising from within the crucible. To seize the world.
I can't believe they used that model.
Is to see it burn first.
All right, that's actually the dog fucking bollock. I have a great deal of love for the Chaos Dwarves, largely because they were so roundly hated by so many people for a very long period of time because of their ridiculous hats, or because of their funny little faces, or because of the way the entire line was. It was almost given a diminished army list. Its army list was thinner. It originally came out as a white dwarf set of articles. But I have enormous love for them because, well, I collected them. I collected every army in Warhammer at one point or another. But when I see these, I cannot help but not just smile, but giggle with a certain amount of childish glee, because I honestly expected when they did the Chaos Dwarf expansion that they would go far more heavily into the Forge World version of what the Chaos Dwarves looked like. And the Forge World version looked much more, you know, metal, and much less big hat, and much less big tooth sticking out, and almost cartoony. And they almost redesigned them from the ground up, adding that little bit of extra fire running all the way through it for the campaign. And that was fine. I liked that, and I quite liked the update, and I thought that was pretty cool. And I expected those to be the models, but that is not what we got. What we got instead was pretty much a pixel for pixel remake of the original Chaos Dwarf models. The art that was, again, I can't believe I'm going to be calling out twice in a single stream, but the Chaos Dwarf art by Mark Gibbons that was used throughout that army list is pretty much hard-coded into the DNA of every single miniature you can see here. And look, even at bloody Astaroth himself sitting there with his gigantic, ridiculous walking suit, which I am never going to think looks cool. The model looked ridiculous when it first came out. This still looks ridiculous, yet somehow they've taken the most ridiculous and crazy looking model and made it kind of freaking cool. I bloody love it. Yeah, I'm kind of in love with all of this. This is pretty goddamn fucking gorgeous. Every single last bit, the Lamassu when it comes running over, the Taurus when it comes swooping down, just the forges. My first campaign that went over there, because yes, I have played role-playing game campaigns in pretty much every corner of the Warhammer world. My first campaign that went over there went over the World's Edge Mountains all the way through and saw the forges. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but this is almost exactly what I depicted and imagined, and that never happens. I'm a picky fucker. Think of what I was saying about Teclis earlier. My version of Teclis is drastically different from the one that they present inside most of the games, where they try to almost make him heroic, where my version of Teclis kind of isn't that. This is my Chaos Dwarves made manifest. Fucking gorgeous. They're just bloody more. I don't know, let me just call out there. Bring out the Cathay there. I agree. They're fucking amazing. Yeah, another call out there. Quite literally amazing. My version of Teclis, it's not so much a thing I can show you. When I say about my version of things, I've been playing Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay for like a bajillion years, and through the course of playing that, I've built lots of characters, and some of those characters have come through into the official game in various places because I've written for the role-playing game for several editions, and some of those characters I've depicted slightly differently because of my work on the role-playing game. And when I say my version of characters, how I've played them at home in my tables, I've got very clear ideas of what the characters are like. Now, when I, for example, write material for the game, I don't bring my version in. What I do is I look at what's that character and I write that. But I have very clear visions in my mind of how many of the characters are. My Teclis, for example, it's just different. He just is. He doesn't look like the versions that I generally see portrayed elsewhere. Quick letter from Luring Lion. You probably missed my comment. I did, but I also linked you a playlist of all the in-engine trailers for 1 to 3 in your Discord for your future videos. I don't think I want to do all of them. I'll maybe do one more trailer because I appear to be on a trailer bent. So if you've got one more trailer you'd like me to see, now's the time to ping it up. If you're in my Discord, and if you're not, you bloody should be, do go drop by there. Drop it in for the Ideas for Andy one at the bottom. At the moment, we've got the in-engine faction and related trailers. We've got the announcement trailer for Warhammer 3. How about the announcement trailer? The very first one, because I missed that. That seems like a good one. But I'm going to do the announcement trailer because that seems like a really good one to be a good way to initiate myself into what's almost certainly going to be me playing this game a fucking lot.
Death is like the
Oh, of course. I have seen this. Oh, Steve D's poem.
From ash and summer yet may bloom again. Though eyes be
I love this.
My child, there is so much to tell you, that I have run out of time. The sacrifice I made was not enough.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
The dark gods still feed on our transgressions. Corruption. Obsession.
Quality has gone down there. And how's the quality gone down?
Rage.
Yeah.
You must face these demons.
So, hell yeah. Hope we got the end here. Oh, of course, the teaser for Grand Cathay. Of course, of course, of course. Right, so I have quite a few things to say about this one. Number one, I can't help but love this because it's dealing with something that I helped bring into creation for Warhammer with Kislev. The poem at the beginning was written by Steve D in a book that I worked on called, I can't even remember because I'm so excited about the trailer, Realms of the Ice Queen. And the poem was one small part of that book, and just hearing it rumble through there is just freaking yes, just love it. I have inevitably got opinions because I can't help but have opinions. I adore everything about this bar one thing, and that's that she is not my Ice Queen. She's close to my Ice Queen, but not quite my Ice Queen. Everybody's got their own versions of the characters in their head, as I said in a previous one, and I have a very strong version. I've drawn her myself officially for Games Workshop on 2 occasions, and my version of the Ice Queen is actually much more Eastern, actually. And there was a reason for that in the lore that we're building in the background because of her unique bloodline, because she was of the direct line of Shoika and Mishka. And they were a far more Eastern bloodline than many of the Gospodar lines. There were several Gospodar bloodlines that all bound together, the Gospodar clans, and then swept over the World's Edge Mountains to conquer Kislev about 1,000 years ago in the official setting. My version, which sadly I can't show you because I don't think I've got an image of it here. I lost the original in a flood, but you can find the original in a book called Empire at War, which was produced by Black Library. And we had a discussion when I put that one together as to exactly how the Can Queen should be presented. And we decided that a far more Eastern version of her would work better and speak to the nature of how the Gospodars were generally perceived by the rest of the Old World nations, where the Gospodars were seen to be tall and beautiful and almost like the elves of the humans. They were quite different looking than the rest of the humans, where the Ungolics that they lived and conquered sitting beside them were again quite a different group of people with a completely different ethnicity from everybody else. So yeah, she's not my Ice Queen. She looks altogether too almost normal and mundane. She's lost a certain amount of her celestial beauty, as one of the commissioners referred it to me at the time. But nevertheless, still fucking awesome.
You must face these demons.
I'm really liking how they made the crown. Really liking how they made the crown. Where I did the crown according to the original miniature as well. And when I painted it, I popped the little baubles that it had sitting on top. But making it actual ice that glows is not something that I did, and I kind of wish I had, because it's fucking awesome. I've painted her old model like about 10 times, and I was never happy with it because it was a relatively chunky old model, and the description of the Ice Queen in comparison to the model never quite matched. But nevertheless, still quite liked it. And let's see what we have here. You're bribing me again, aren't you? Dude, can I bribe you into watching Mummy Meow Ying trailer? Drop the link in the usual place. You're a bad person, dude. Okay, well, I do one more. Because, hey, why not? I'm here. And you know you bribed me, and I'm easily bribed. Such an easy lay. At least that's what my wife tells me. Right, so but before I go off and I go check that one up, I would just like to say that I actually adore this trailer. I remember when it came out. I remember talking to Andy Hall about it when it came out, and he was as giddy with excitement about the whole process as I imagine any of us were, because, well, obviously the new game was coming out. It's a game he'd worked on really hard, and it was becoming a reality before everyone. And yeah, it looks pretty goddamn gorgeous. Right, I'm going to go check this other trailer. There we go. And pop that in. Take me to it. Let's double check that it's actually streaming at the proper. That'll do. Let's bring it up and have a look. Oh, this isn't the Meow Ying trailer. I have been tricked. Oh, godly. I'm going to bring up the right one. Right, where is it? Where's the Meow Ying one? I don't see it. You're going to have to pay up. Yeah, you're. Have you tricked me into watching bloody pirates? I love vampire pirates. Okay, I'm going to watch this one anyway since I'm here, but can we make sure we get the right one? Gosh darn it. Let's watch it anyway, yeah?
The tales we could tell.
Oh, lizard men and vampires. How could you fricking go wrong? Pirates for the Caribbean time.
Though, truth be told,
I love this.
it started very poorly.
Blood runs cold. We take our look, but don't get old.
We take our look, we don't get old.
But now we are many. We all agree on one thing. To sail the coast.
Oh, just want to
And
pause
down
there.
those lizard
Want to pause.
trinkets.
Get back, get back, get back, get
Trinkets.
back, get back,
To
get back,
sail
get
the-
back. I always like to pause in the small details that make the Warhammer world, because so many people forget about it. Number one, we actually have Morsleib and Mansleib there, the two moons that are obviously in orbit around the Warhammer world. And they haven't done what they almost always do with these things, and they've made Morsleib look relatively small and not filled with a giant skull. It's only really skull-faced and weird when it gets big and swollen, when the world has gone a little bitty wrong or events have gone out of control. Mansleib should be the bigger moon. It's really nice to actually see Mansleib being the bigger moon, being the moon that it should be. And it's also nice to see both of them on screen at once at the same time. All too often, they only put Morsleib and they go, look, giant chaos moon with a skull. Look at that big fuck-off thing. And then they forget that it's just one of two. Yeah. Anyway, now we've seen the bad moon rising. Let's carry on. Did the quality get reduced? Let's double check. Yes, it did. Thanks for pointing that out. That'll be when I restarted
The
it.
coast. And down those lizard trinkets. and we will find them.
Oh, look at that! Right out of the bloody Forge world.
One piece at a time. We will put ourselves
It's
back
Dina!
together. Fortune favors the infamous.
Oh, here they come.
With talent sails and incredible tales, we're caught in endless sea.
Okay, right. One, I freaking love this, and I've seen this one before because I got linked to it before. And actually seeing it again is just reminding me just how much I love it. Just that touch of the old lizardman stroke pirate coin that good old, Jack Sparrow's got to capture. I actually love that. It's just so absolutely over the top and ridiculous. Why the hell do a bunch of vampires want the gold? Who really knows? But they do mention about that a couple of times in their lovely shanty because, who cares? But the old artifacts and pillaging those bad boys, yeah, totally get it. Okay, right. So that wasn't the trailer I intended to watch. Really glad that I did, though, because it was highly entertaining. That was for a total. Oh, in fact, it's right in front of me. It's for 2 because I seem to remember that coming out when I was still buying parts for it. Right. So let me just ping out the one from Lionsaurus there. Meow Young, this one's Mama Meow. There we go. Oh no, I accidentally pasted it rather than copying it. That's a mistake. So let's grab that. I really enjoyed that. Oh, some Warhammer things are proper daft. I really like that. That's really made me smile. Okay, so let's get the last one in. Let's make sure the quality is at the right size before I play it this time, because it's been naughty multiple times. There we go. Back to 360. There we go. 1080p at 60. Alrighty. Let's bring on the last one. Are we ready? Alexa, shut up. Bloody Alexa trying to interrupt me. Amazon spy. Okay, we ready? Here we go. I've not watched this one, so I have no idea what's coming.
From the stars came the will to shape fate, hurling this world toward ruin.
Ha! Oh, yeah.
This burden is mine to bear. To offer guidance where it is most needed. To demand sacrifice.
Yeah. awesome.
For I am ruler of the northern provinces. Sentinel of the great bastion.
Nice.
Supreme Matriarch of Nangao.
Yeah.
Master of the storm winds. Daughter of the dragon emperor.
Fuck yeah. I'm so glad I hadn't watched that before, because I would never have been so impressed with it if I had. Oh, that's freaking amazing. In particular as well, because I'm currently building a version of Nippon for our games just now. And I hadn't seen this trailer. I really wish I had. I'm going to pass it over to Sage so she can have a look at it. Because that's just fucking amazeballs. Oh, I just love that. I saw some sort of crazy comment earlier that I was going to answer to. Can I see it? How far back was it? It was. It's already gone too far. Why is the internet so? It wasn't this one, but I'm just going to pull it anyway. It's because she's fucking awesome. That was easy. As questions go, could it be easier? Why do they want gold? Because they're pirates. Yeah, I think you're right about that one, Paolo. In fact, I think you're absolutely spot on. Oh, here's the one I was going to. Lally, hi, Lally. Since we're on topic of Cathay and Dragons, did you get a chance to read the Yuan Bo short story, Andy? Yes, I did. And indeed, right after doing it, I immediately posted something about it that really bugged me, because I'm also an editor amongst my many other hats that I wear. There was a bunch of spelling mistakes in it. There was also a bunch of grammatical errors that made me cringe. But to make matters worse, the one that really just got me was the gaggle. The gaggle of Onyx Crowman. A gaggle, not a murder of Onyx Crowman. A gaggle. Gaggle which is associated with geese. As if these little Onyx... Like they're geese. What an absolute... Yeah, so I know the word gaggle really didn't really bother anyone else, but it did bother me. That aside, story was cool. Really rather enjoyed it. A gaggle. Gaggle of Onyx Crowman. Still making me laugh. I was the 100% opinion that Shadow Dragon Child fled to Nippon and was taken by the ruling powers there. Just works so well. You know, it's the sort of thing that, you know, we might end up using. We definitely have a dragon, one particularly powerful one at that, that's sitting very near the center of Nippon in our version. And that may be, and also, thanks very much, Sotek, you are the best. Right, so I think we are done. The Onyx Geeseman, that is pretty much what I thought. I'll be honest, when I first read it, I hadn't seen the videos for Luan Bo yet, so I had no idea what he looked like. I hadn't even seen the crewmen. I hadn't no idea what they looked like either. So I was reading it, and I was imagining in my mind what these things were. And they were relatively short on descriptions. They were basically just dropping names, and this thing was here, it spread its wings, this thing was here, this thing was here, that thing was there. If you know it all, it immediately paints pictures, but if you don't, the pictures were somewhat lacking in colors. And when I got the gaggle line, I cannot tell you how ridiculous these things looked in my mind. When I saw them in reality, they looked nothing like how I was imagining. But it really was funny. We all get amused by different things, don't we? So I'd like to say thanks very much. I think we appear to be done. I am now so super hyped to go and play myself some Warhammer Total War. So it appears that it has been entirely successful as a bunch of trailers to me. I really rather enjoyed that. in terms of the Cathay and stuff, just to finish off, I am more than delighted by the way it all turned out. I think it is absolutely gorgeous. Just looking at yeah, wow. Anyway, let's move on. So, thank you very much. That was super cool. I'll see if there's any last comments to finish us off. Loremaster drops in with a quick. I believe the undivided combined lore dragon fell to chaos and became Flame Fang. Do you think? The big bad chaos dragon from Cathay, who Archeon fought to claim the Eye of Sheeran. Do you think? I mean, that would make sense because it would make it a particularly big feat. But it's also worth saying that you'd really want to build a story to make sure that that was the case, because we'd obviously had lots of previous Ever-Chosens also. But yeah, I think you might be onto something there. Lawhammer, I recommend starting with the prologue in TWW3. I will be starting with the prologue. I'm going to be working my way through that. And not just because I need it, because I haven't played the game for years and I can barely remember how any of it works, but because I want to actually experience all of it and get a good go of everything that it's got to offer, and that includes the prologue story, who the characters involved with that are. I kind of get myself immersed in it all, and I will be playing every faction at one point or another too, just so that I can just work my way through each of the characters, except for maybe Balthazar Gelt, because he can get to fuck. I do like to make sure that we have that nice and clear. Good old Balthazar, he can go fuck off. And Learn Line, like your theory. I like it too, and I quite like the whole shadow. Yeah, I'd like that too. The prologue is so good. Yeah, the prologue is hopefully going to be quite fun. I'll find out when I play it. Gelt rant stream when? Maybe when I'm playing it, or maybe just when I can't help myself, because screw that guy. Anyway, thank you very much for dropping by. I'm going to pop off and check how Lindsay is, because if you didn't know already, Lindsay is exceedingly ill upstairs, which is why I'm doing a little bit of streaming just now. She is an absolute mess. She's really ill, clogged up with the cold, and feels truly terrible, and has pretty much pinged me about 4 or 5 times going, I don't know, well, poor thing. I'm hoping that she's asleep. I'm going to pop up afterwards. So anyway, as I said, thank you very much. Well, a little question there. Will I stream the prologue? Yes, I intend to stream a good chunk of what I do with Total War, because why not? It's an easy thing to do. The streaming that I've got set up does appear to be working, so I'm happy with that running as is. Let me just bring myself up like so. Boink. There I am. Hello, me. Thank you very much for saying that, Hawk, because she is very much in a very poorly position just now. Bless her little soul. And again, thanks very much, Luring Line, as well. You're the absolute best. And indeed, bye. Thanks all. I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.